Well, if you look back in our YouTube feed, you'll see a few weeks ago we looked at some of the players who seemed certain to make the starting Lions 15, which we called the bankers. This time, I've asked the lads to single out potential bolters, and they picked two each to harp on, starting with Keno.
Yeah. I forced myself to only allow myself one Leinster player to pick as a potential bolter.
That's
And
generous.
I know I'm
I
very
know.
good. Uh, so I decided to pick the one that'll probably annoy the most other people in Ireland who aren't Leinster supporters. So Sam Prendergast is following a seemingly meteoric rise from his emergence from the under 20s. And I think he's actually a decent contender for a bolter. He was integral to that emerging Ireland tour. He started all the games at fly half, so the Irish management team certainly have their eye on him and think there's something there. He showed good leadership throughout in some high pressure situations. You know, these are full mature teams they're playing. You know, maybe not the highest caliber of teams compared to the URC, but certainly you're not going to get an armchair ride in any of those games. His game management and tactical kicking was excellent. He's really mature for his age. Kicking accuracy was good, 85% kick accuracy across that tour, and effective out of hand as well. His crossfield kicks and his tactical touch finders were very good. He was great against Pumas, 300 meters through kicks. Good running threat against Western Force as well. He broke the line multiple times, 50 meters across 7 carries. Good with the pressure situations. He's got a crucial drop goal against Cheetah in the 73rd minute. Defensively, made 9 tackles, including a great try saver against Pumas. Tackle success 82%, which is decent enough for a fly half. He's only going to get better as he puts timber on, which I hope he does a little bit over the season. He's got a really versatile skill set. He's a young player. I hate drawing comparisons with Johnny Sexton, but lots of people have done it. And he seems the kind of player to flourish under pressure, and given new responsibilities, he seems to grasp them. And I think he could well be an interesting pick for the Lions. Now, my other pick is, as I said, self-enforced, not a Leinster player, Tom Ahern. I really like Tom Ahern. I think he showed exceptional form in Munster's 23-24 season. Really had a key role nailed down in that forward pack, having moved him out to the blind side. He's also an excellent lock. Like, he excels in both positions and gives a lot of flexibility in that way. That kind of familiar half lock role that we now see very often. He scored a crucial try in Munster's victory over Toulon. Very physical, very confident. He's got 4.5 successful line-out takes per match where he started in the second row. Defensively, he averages 11 tackles per game, 88% tackle success rate, and averages 8 carries per match, consistently breaking the gain line as well. Plays like a back row forward, great mobility, great work rate, great athleticism. Involved in multiple line breaks, including a notable 25-meter carry against the Lions last season. So yeah, combination of size, athleticism, versatility. I think he's a really compelling option for Lions. Certainly on the midweek matches, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't think our listeners will mind too much that we're picking. I mean, we didn't pick all Leinster players, but they're all Irish players. But that's okay. We're an Irish site. That's what we do. We'll let the others pick their own bolters and whatever.
This is the way you got to talk about what you know best. Huh?
We could have been gracious and say, oh, we'll pick 4, one from each nation. But screw that. We'll go all Irish. Okay, so it's grand. We'll go over to Connor now, who has a couple of bolters of his own.
Yeah, and again, look, I'm looking at this through a very Irish lens as well, and it's really hard to be trying to pick players from other teams, especially before the Six Nations. But for me, my first has to be Jamie Osborne. The rise of Jamie Osborne, who just seems to have good game after good game after good game. And looking back at the Connacht game, and one of his first involvements is to take a pass that he knocks on. And I think I said at the time, I don't think it's his fault he's knocked on in that situation. And then, there's any number of players who could have that thing of, oh, I've made a mistake, and then the next mistake is compounded. And but he's very much of the mentality of, okay, I've made a mistake. What's my next job? What's my next role? What do I do next? How do I keep the team moving forward? Or how do I keep them from coming at us in defence? I think he had a really good game against Connacht, but every game he's played recently has been a good game. I think he's been great to watch. I wonder how the Irish setup are going to juggle what we have now, because he's proven he can play at fullback. He's proven he can play in the centre. If you were stuck, he could probably play on the wing. So how do we juggle who we've got? He's definitely getting a couple more caps during the autumn internationals and the Six Nations. And I think, if you want to shout for somebody to say, God, that came out of nowhere, he could very well be the one to get that Lions call up later in the year as well. My other choice, coming out of Leinster, I wanted to look at Cormac Izuchukwu, who, again, another player. I watched the Ulster game the other day, and so much of what Ulster did well and so much of what they were doing right is channeling through him. Whether it's good ruck defence, he's an option in your line out. He's making breaks through the pitch, running through players at one stage, and not even late in the game where players are tired. He's running through players early in the game. I really want to see him get a run of games. I want to see him get a call up for Ireland and get a couple of games. Whether that's at 6 or at 5 is going to be a big problem for me, because I look at Henderson at around the same point in his career, and he's not a 5, he's a 6. But this week we need a 5, so he's a 5, and not fixing to a position, I think, hindered him a little bit at the time, and I wouldn't want to see the same thing happen now. I think if Richie Murphy looks and says, I've got a quality 6 on my hands here, let's keep using him as a 6, and let him develop in that position, because it's only the end of this year and we won't have Peter O'Mahony in a green jersey, so who will we have at 6? And I hope the Ireland setup will use opportunities to look and see how these players fit in, not just in training, but in the intensity of a full match, in that full international test setup, to see how they fit in with other players who they're looking at and who they're hoping for, and could well give Andy Farrell a reason to be looking at him come the Lions selection later in the year.